Hello, welcome you all to this lecture. Now, this lecture is about leadership, how to become an outstanding leader. I first gave this lecture on the 3rd of March in 2022, that's only a few weeks ago, to a group of university students. This is an updated version and hope you all will enjoy it. So this lecture is about, would you like to be an outstanding leader? Managing change. It's aimed at scientists, engineers, technologists, managers, and other professionals. Now, many of you watching this video will be young graduates or young undergraduate students aspiring to be successful managers, scientists, technologists, or engineers in the future. I believe your goal is not just to become a successful engineer, a successful technologist, or a successful manager, but to be an outstanding leader in your chosen field. I sincerely hope that's the case. And I also believe that you all can reach that goal without any problem. But how? What's the secret? What do you have to do to be a leader and be among the best? All you need to do is to carefully define your goals, develop a plan, follow the plan with 100% dedication and commitment. Now that sounds easy, doesn't it? Actually, it's not that difficult. Now, in this lecture, I'm going to cover many different areas. So let me cover the basic topics. Of course, I'm not going to do them, all of them in exactly the same order, but all these topics will be covered. I'll start with your university education as an adult. Then I'll discuss about your first job and how to plan your goals for the future. I'll talk about continuous improvement. I'll mention managing processes and changes. Now, to be successful, you need to understand the impact on the society of your work. And there are certain skills you can develop to generate outstanding results. You also need to understand the connection and the impact of science, engineering, technology, and the society. So I'll cover these things as well. To be a successful leader, you need to contribute to the happiness and success of other people. By doing these things, you all can become outstanding leaders and managing change. I'll talk about these things in detail in the following sections. So your education, what to study and how to study. If you are at the university, you are an adult already, a young adult. So you decide how to learn and what to learn. You plan everything. You can decide what to learn. So always choose something that you enjoy to study. It's very important that you enjoy what you are doing all the time. It's the same when you're working. You must do something you enjoy for living. Now, of course, this may not always be possible. So if that happens, what you can do is you can learn to enjoy what you are doing, what you are studying, or what you are doing for a living. Remember, happiness and joy is something that we create in our own mind. So if you decide to be happy, if you decide to enjoy what you are doing, you will enjoy what you are studying, you will enjoy what you are working at. So in your studies or at work, show 100% commitment, absolute commitment, and always maintain an open mind and curious mind. Always be prepared to ask questions as to why and how and whatever. And always remember, whether you are studying or whether you are working, help others. Help others to develop, help others to understand the issues, help others to develop solutions. So that's very important as well. Now, as I said, this lecture is mainly for science, technology, engineering, and management graduates, or people studying that. So all these topics relate to products and services. So before we go any further, let us look at some historical evolution of products and services. 25,000 years ago, what kind of products did they have? Can you think of any? The bow and arrow was probably one of the key products they had. Now, when I said 25,000 years ago, it probably started even earlier than that. But it looks like we have records going back to about 25,000 years. Then, about 6,000 years ago, humans managed to develop the wheel. Now, that was a huge invention that led to a lot of changes in the society. So about 4,500 years ago, the pyramids appeared. Now that's an important civil engineering achievement. Then about 2,300 years ago, the Chinese Great Wall appeared. That's again a huge, huge civil engineering achievement. A lot of progress has made. The bicycle that we take for granted, it only appeared about 205 years ago. It's not that old, but the original bicycle is very different from what we have today. About 121 years ago, another important product appeared. That's a paperclip. We don't even think about it, but paperclip was a huge invention. It helped a lot. 119 years ago, something major happened. What was that? The first aircraft, the Wright brothers proved that mechanical machines can fly. That was the beginning of the aircraft industry. Then roughly 40 years ago, just under 40 years ago, the mobile phones appeared. But of course, the mobile phones those days were very cumbersome, very large objects, not very comfortable to use. Now, among all these products, there's a common link. Remember, I have only mentioned a few products. There are hundreds and hundreds of products developed over the last hundreds and thousands of years ago. They all have a common link. What's that? Someone understood how some aspect of nature works, and they applied that knowledge to create or engineered a product that fulfills a need. So somebody understood understood how the nature worked, and they created a product that fulfills a need that humans have. So that's the common link. I come from aero engine industry. I have an aerospace background. So in my talk, I'll be using information relating to those products. Before we go any further, let us look at a video. So we looked at a range of aircrafts in flight operations. Now, they are not normal flights. They are all test flights to test the aircrafts. Before any product, before any aircraft come into service, they have to put them through a lot of testing to ensure safety and reliability. So what you saw was some of those tests. So every product is engineered to make life easy for humans. The aircraft is used to fly long distances conveniently and quickly. Similarly, every other product is engineered to make life easy for humans for one way or the other. Usually, science and technology is developed first, then a product is created. Later, it becomes an essential item that fulfills a human need. Few examples are laser technology, internet, mobile communications, and there are so many. They are all developed as a result of scientific discoveries. And later they become essential items for our humans, for the functioning of the society. Effectively, every engineered product fulfills the society's need. However, in some cases, some people might ask the question, such as, are they really needed? Are they really justified? Or do they really add any value for the human well-being? So these are general questions. But nevertheless, every product fulfills a need and every product is delivered because people want them. Otherwise, they would not succeed. Now, we should not forget something else. When a product is developed, usually only a small quantity is manufactured at the beginning. And usually at the beginning, they are very expensive. People can't afford them. So to bring the cost down, we have to have large-scale manufacturing facilities. So as I said, science, engineering, technology has evolved for many centuries, and they will continue to do so. As a result of those scientific discoveries, consumer products and services have evolved. To meet the demand, we have to have large-scale manufacturing capability. It's essential. And service industries have evolved around all these activities. So we mentioned science, engineering. So those are some of the professionals working on them. So let's look at what do these professionals do. Scientists are interested in creating new knowledge. They want to understand how the nature works. So in doing so, they discover new possibilities. The scientists do research only because they love their subject. They are thirsty for new knowledge. So they create new knowledge. There is another thing. Scientific discoveries as well as engineering creations can change people's thinking patterns, leading to what's called paradigm shifts. Now, I'm not going to cover the details of paradigm shifts in this situation today, but it's something important. Scientific discoveries always lead to paradigm shifts. Sometimes large, sometimes not so large. What do the engineers do? Engineers create products based on knowledge generated by scientists. They apply principles of science and mathematics to develop economic solutions to technical problems. Their work is the link between scientific discoveries and the commercial applications that meet needs of the society or the needs of the consumers. So what do the technologists do? Technologist is a professional person trained in a certain aspect of science and technology. They facilitate design, manufacturing, or test processes in a production or service environment. Entrepreneurs convert these new products and services into successful businesses. So they are also essential for the success of the society, success of the economy. Managers and leaders, they coordinate activities to ensure that engineered products are delivered to consumers or the marketplace with the right quality, at the right cost, and on time. And also the right quantity, because sometimes if the quantity is not enough, people can't afford them. They're not available. And the marketing and sales people, they understand the marketplace and they ensure that products delivered are what the consumers really want. So that's why sometimes the products from the initial concept, they change the shape or the size or the functionality because the marketing and sales people understand what the customers want and they change the product to suit the customers. There are, of course, many other professionals carrying out supporting activities behind these products and services. Now let's look at the process chart associated with engineered products. Scientific knowledge is discovered. That may lead to paradigm shifts. Then someone imagines the possibility of an application. So the product or the process or the application first appears in the head, in the imagination of somebody. Then that person or a group of people evaluate the concept, analyze the concept and see if it can really work. So that leads to a design concept or an invention, or they formulate a product. And that's how that product appears in the marketplace. So there are many steps. So once the product appears in the marketplace, that creates even more knowledge because people keep studying. And that additional knowledge leads to improved concepts, improved analysis. And improved analysis leads to better product, better designs, cheaper products, and so on. So that cycle keeps going on and gradually improving products and services. Leaders, managers, marketing professionals, information technologists, and many other professionals support this. Now, we left something out of this process chart. Large-scale production. So where do they come in? So let's look at the process associated with large-scale production. So the engineering design or the invention is the initial starting point. And that concept is then developed and somebody manufactured the initial product, a prototype. And that prototype is used to do lots of testing. Many, many tests are done before that becomes a real product. So a small amount of products, a limited number, is introduced into the marketplace sometimes. And then somebody or a group of people spend a lot of time and effort developing manufacturing technology to improve the easiness of manufacturing them so that large-scale manufacturing can take place. So that also involves a lot of work. And eventually, we establish large-scale production. So that is how we end up with all these products at an affordable cost in a convenient way and easy to use product. Now let's look at another video now. In this case, we are looking at an engine test. We initially looked at an aircraft. So each aircraft must have engines. These are engine on an aircraft is the most critical part of the product. So each engine has to go through an enormous amount of testing and development. So what we are going to look at is just one test. So let's look at the video.
they would buy engines built by Rolls-Royce, capable of providing 30% more thrust than the engines used on the 747. Each massive power plant costs $15 million, as much as a ton of gold. Altogether, they account for almost 25% of the cost of the entire plane. But if there's one thing this aircraft needs, it's thrust that won't quit. Each engine provides up to 80,000 pounds of force. Running at top speed, this mega guzzler sucks down a litre of gasoline every second. The A380 is designed for routine flights lasting 13 hours or more. That means when it's fully tanked for takeoff, the A380 carries a lot of fuel. 260,000 litres, 20% more than the load carried by the 747. Just imagine what would happen if anything threatened the integrity of one of those fuel tanks, like a catastrophic engine failure that sends shards of metal tearing through them. That's the nightmare that haunts engineers at Rolls-Royce, and they're about to destroy an engine to make sure it never occurs. These 24 titanium fan blades suck air into the maw of this A380 engine. Each blade is 1 meter in length and weighs 15 kilograms. Lightweight, but super strong. When the engine is roaring along at full throttle, the blades spin at almost 3,000 revolutions per minute. The centrifugal force at the tip of each blade is equivalent to the weight of a 110-ton locomotive. If one of these were to break off and escape into the engine, it could wreak unimaginable destruction to the plane. That's why Rolls-Royce engineers are about to conduct an engine failure test. They're going to intentionally cause one of the fan blades to break off at full speed in order to prove that the engine enclosure can contain the damage without letting any metallic fragments escape. In the process, they will totally trash this $15 million engineering marvel, a small price to pay when the lives of over 550 people could be at stake. A super slow-motion camera captures every moment in excruciating detail. The blades are striped to make visual measurement easier. When the fan is spinning at full speed, engineers send a signal to explosive bolts at the base of the multicolored test blade. Faster than even this camera can see, the knife-like piece of metal shears off and flies into the engine mechanism, wreaking havoc, but no fragments escape. The A380 engines are safe for flight, but there are many more pieces to the puzzle.
So that's one of the tests carried out on the 900 engine used on the A380 aircraft. Now that single test would cost millions and millions of pounds. But there are many, many, many more tests like that. So the total development program for an aero engine could be in the range of £1 billion, not rupees, billion pounds. So now let's look at managers and leaders. Because we talked about scientists, engineers, and so on. Now management is a discipline, and the practitioner of the discipline is known as the manager. There will be management and leadership opportunities in every technical and non-technical area in every organization. So there will be lots of managers, lots of leaders. Now, first, let us look at what is meant by management, or what is meant by a manager. What do they do? The management is the process of dealing with or controlling things or people. That's one definition. Another possible definition is management is delivering products and services in an organized way, not just randomly, in an organized way, in an efficient way. So management is the use of resources to achieve the desired goals and objectives of the organization efficiently and effectively. So they do deliver services and products in an organized way, in the most efficient and effective way. That is important. So the managers do follow processes and rules. They do it in a systematic way, but they can learn those processes. So that includes planning, organizing, staffing. That means putting the right people in the right place to do the right work, leading and directing, controlling of the organization or the effort. All this is done to achieve the desired goals of the organization. So the managers always follow processes. So they always follow processes and they always deliver the expected outcomes of the customers. They ensure quantity and timely delivery of products and services. They also ensure that the people with the right skills, with the right knowledge, and the right experience are available for smooth functioning of the organization. So they are all these activities are carried out according to certain processes and information which they already have. The managers have to make sure that the workforce is happy and efficient. One thing you have to remember is that outstanding managers will always have good leadership skills as well. We'll look at the leadership skills now. Let us look at what is meant by leadership. A leader is a person who leads, guides, and directs others. Leader is the one who inspires, encourages, and influences his team to work willingly to achieve the organization's objectives. Leaders do manage processes. They do deliver outcomes. They do deliver products and services. But the difference is they do not depend on authority to produce results. The managers usually depend on the authority, but the leaders do not need to have the authority to make sure that the people are delivering the right products and on the right quality at the right time. Leadership is also based on a range of skills. One becomes a leader by developing these skills. Because of the range of skills they have, leaders can respond to changes quickly and effectively and efficiently. They can implement changes within the organization to maintain effectiveness and productivity in response to external changes. Now we discussed several different professions: scientists, engineers, technologists, and managers. In addition to scientists, engineers, and technologists, of course, there are lots of other professions in the society. Lawyers, doctors, artists, many, many different professions. Even the restaurant owners or chefs, they are professions. There is something common between all these professions. What is that? All the professionals, in whatever the profession, they do solve problems for their people, for their customers. Not only they solve problems, they solve problems in such a way that they create maximum benefits to the organization or the society or the customers at the lowest possible cost in a timely manner. So not only they solve problems, they remember to minimize the cost and deliver them as quickly as possible. They also do that with minimum disturbance without upsetting anybody. For that, they need good communication. They have to be able to work in teams, good teamwork. They need to understand the requirements clearly. So they have to develop solutions based on requirements. So this is what all the professions do: solving problems for their customers, for the society, in the most effective way, whether it's a scientist, technologist, or a manager. Now, we also said that leaders are good at changing management. Sorry, leaders are good at managing change. But why do they have to manage change? Why do organizations have to introduce changes? What happens is there will be changes outside the organization affecting supply or the demand of the products or the services. So they have to change. There may be legal changes. There will be economical factors changing, or there will be political changes, or there will be technological changes. For example, new techniques may appear to uh, help the production, leading to lower costs. So if that organization doesn't change, somebody else will use that technology to produce something more cost-effective manner. So to be competitive, they have to follow these technical changes, introduce changes. As I said before, outstanding leaders can handle these changes easily because they are flexible, they are ready to keep learning. So look, what are the essential skills for managers or leaders? They have to understand the requirements to satisfy organization's lead objectives. They have to have the communication skills. They have to be able to listen, explain things, write reports, and make presentations. They are all part of communication skills. They have to have language skills because sometimes you will find that your products or the services are in different countries using different languages. So you need to be able to sometimes learn the language and communicate effectively in another language. You need the organizational skills. You need to be able to work in a team, in an effective teamwork is essential. Now, do you think you can develop some of these skills or all of them at school or at the university? The answer is yes. There are opportunities to develop these skills even when you are studying. To help that, it might be beneficial for you to do some extracurricular activities at school or at the university so that you will be ready to work effectively when you get the first job or when you go into a profession. Now, we looked at two videos. We looked at aircrafts and aero engines. We looked at an example of extensive tests carried out before the products are introduced into the marketplace. There are many large companies in aero engine industry. They design, develop, and manufacture aircraft and aero engines. Each product consists of many thousands of parts assembled together. And these parts are manufactured mostly by supply organizations. Just to give you some idea about the size of these organizations, the number of employees employed by Rolls-Royce is 52,000 people. That's the 2019 figure. Airbus employs 130,000 people. Boeing employed 142,000 in 2021. Of course, in addition to employees employed directly by these companies, there are lots of other companies working for these. So there are many more people involved in these products and services. Of course, there are lots of engineers and scientists in these companies, but is that sufficient? We need business managers, we need accounting and finance officers, we need human resource managers, we need marketing professionals. So not only scientists and engineers, there are many other professions required for these companies to run successfully. So here I am talking about aero engine and aircraft industry, but similar professionals are required in every industry. So what are the management and technical opportunities in the industrial world? We talked about engineering, manufacturing industries, service industries, banking, insurance, many other, travel industry, education, chemicals, consumer products, constructions, communications. So there are lots a lot of opportunities in the future. So let's look at your first job. Once you complete your university education, fairly quickly, you will end up in a first job. Now, usually people assume that when you leave the university, you don't have to study anymore. Now, that's not quite true. You have to keep studying, keep learning, keep improving yourself, even when you're working. So in your first job, you may start anywhere. You have to keep learning. In the first 3 months, usually you'll be in the learning to do the job phase. It would be good to have a mentor, but sometimes you would not have a mentor. If that's the case, you must depend on the existing staff working around you or your supervisors or superiors to get guidance. So keep learning. Learn about the processes, the procedures they use. If you are involved in a job with technology or technical activities, ensure that you know exactly what to do. If you are not sure, always ask questions, ask for clarification. Ensure that you learn and understand the processes clearly before you do the work properly. So after 3 months, usually you should be able to do your work with minimum supervision. Of course, you will have to have help from others all the time, but normally you can do your job without much supervision after 3 months. After 1 year, you should be very skilled in your job, and you should be able to help others who are joining the company to do the same job. After 2 years, normally you are expected to do the job well, help others, and not only that, you might be able to experience, you might have enough experience to understand what opportunities are there to improve the processes or the procedures to do the job better. Now, in your job, you must understand how your job fits into the departmental objectives. You also must understand the goals and objectives of the department and how they fit into the organizational objectives, and how your department and how your work helps to achieve the end customer requirements. So every job you do in an organization is going to add value towards what the end customer wants. Now, normally after 3 years, in most European countries or Western countries, people change the job. And they keep changing because they keep learning all the time. So that's a good thing. Now, what you must remember is that within your working life, you must get experience in working in small companies as well as large companies. Because in large companies, they are more process oriented. Whereas in small companies, they are people oriented. People have to have lots of experience and skills. Now, all you want to be successful. Whatever the job you are doing, whatever the profession, whether you're a scientist, engineer, or a manager, you want to be successful. But what is success? In my definition, success means healthy, being joyful, and being able to help others willingly, and continuously growing, continuously improving yourself. And also managing your finances effectively. Now, of course, when you are a student, if you are studying at the university, you only have to manage a very small amount of money you get. But if you are working and with a family, you must learn to manage your finances effectively. So to be successful, you need reasonable level of physical comforts around you. You don't have to have a luxurious environment, but you must be comfortable. You must be content with what you have. Now, being content doesn't mean that you are not growing. You accept what you have, you are joyful with whatever you have, but you have goals and targets to improve yourself. Now that is the success. So why is that only some people are successful? Is that because they don't have enough money, or they have enough money? Or is that because they have family circumstances or the opportunities they have had? Actually, none of these are that important. They can be helpful, but they are not important to achieve success. Can everyone be successful? Of course, anybody and everybody can be successful. So what is the secret of success? Successful people have clear goals. Not only have clear goals, they review those goals regularly and modify them so that they change the goals to suit the circumstances and the experience they have. They have the right type of behavior. They have the right type of mindset. They are fully committed, 100% committed. They have the passion to work and deliver. They have the passion to help others. They never give up. Whatever happens, they keep trying to do their best. Of course, a little bit of good guidance from experienced people is helpful. It's not essential, but it's helpful. And the continuous growth and improvement. The successful people always continue to grow, continue to improve. Now let's look at what does that look like, continuous growth. When you talk about continuous growth, remember there are many different areas in your life. Your studies or job, money, you have to manage the money, earn the money. You have to have fun and joy. You have to be healthy and you have to be fit. You have to pay attention to that. You have to maintain relationships. You have to have a good family life. You have to help others. Now, some people focus on some of these things. Sometimes people focus on the studies or the job only. They don't have much fun, or they don't spend enough time to maintain health and fitness. Or sometimes they fail to look after their family. Sometimes they don't help others. They only think about themselves. But to be successful, you have to have a balanced effort in all these areas. And in all these areas, you must have targets to grow. So that is all about success. Now, outstanding leaders, because we all want to be outstanding leaders. I want all of you to be outstanding leaders, whether you're scientists, engineers, technologists, or managers in some area. I would like all you to be outstanding leaders in your chosen field. Now, outstanding leaders, what are some of the personal qualities? They are good at setting priorities. They list all the tasks and they identify which tasks need to be completed by which date. They prioritize them. They prioritize them based on importance and urgency. They first do the important and urgent tasks before anything else, because sometimes the important tasks are not that urgent. Some urgent tasks are not that important. So you must do the important and urgent tasks first. So you must distinguish between what is important and what is urgent. If there are lots of important and urgent tasks, first do the easy ones and get them out of the way. Find out the lessons you can learn and apply them rigorously to do the task better. If you have too many tasks to do, of course, ask for help. Talk to your superiors. Get help to do the task. Get some assistance. As I said before, if there are too many tasks, talk to your stakeholders. Agree new dates, new delivery dates. Get extra help. Don't stay quiet. Successful people do not compare themselves with other people. They always compare themselves with their own performance today relative to what they performed yesterday. So every day they're looking for some little improvement, not huge improvements, a small improvement every day. They have clear goals relating to their work. and they have spent a lot of time to identify those goals, and they review them and they update them every few months or few weeks or every year if necessary. They review the goals and modify them as they go along, as they learn more. But they have goals in every area of their life. As I said, they have goals for improvement in every area of their life. Every day they make a small but a measurable improvement. And also they take every small setback as an opportunity to learn. So they don't give up because they fail. They think it's an opportunity to learn so that they can do things better in the future. How do they deal with success and failures? As you progress towards your goals, it is only natural that there will be some setbacks. There will be some failures. But treat every setback as an opportunity to grow. Find out the lessons you can learn and apply them rigorously. It is also important that you celebrate your successes, even the small ones, regularly. Treat every success as motivation to do better next time. Just because you did well yesterday, don't try to maintain that. Do better next time. There will always be opportunities to improve. Helping others to be happy and successful, that is very important. Don't just do your work. Don't just fulfill your duties at work. Go out of the way to help others, help your colleagues, subordinates, or your boss to find happiness and success. Successful people always encourage and help others to find happiness and success. The more people benefit from your services and your helpfulness, the more people you help to find happiness and success, then you will be more successful and more happy. That's the way the universe works. So be always helpful, whether it's your colleagues, your subordinates, or your boss. Find a way to help them to do better in their work. And one of the most important things of outstanding leaders, personal qualities, taking responsibility. Successful people always take full responsibility for their actions. If things do not work out the way they expect, if things go wrong, they do not look for someone else to blame. They look for what has gone wrong, not who has done something wrong. Having identified what has gone wrong, they will look for some ways to influence the circumstances to get better results next time. Sometimes this can be a slow process, yet highly productive. As I said, they take everything that goes wrong as an opportunity so that they can learn and improve and influence on others to be more successful. Improvement PDCA. Some of you may have seen already. PDCA, what is that? Successful people always apply this principle. Plan, that means identify activities to achieve your goals and processes. Do, implement the process and carry out the actions. Check, monitor progress and results. Don't just do the work, don't just take actions. From time to time, monitor progress. See that your actions are producing results. Act. Once you monitor the progress, see the results, you may identify areas that needs further attention, further improvements. So act upon them. So that's a continuous cycle. It's a continuous improvement cycle. Follow that process all the time in every area of your life. Work, finances, family life, relationships, helping others. Follow this process. Now, as I said before, I'm hoping that most of you are going to be engineers, scientists, technologists, managers, or leaders in a variety of businesses. You may all come across opportunities or situations which are unfamiliar. So when you come across an unfamiliar situation or a new situation, what do you do? Let's look at the next video before you go any further.
A witch! A witch is coming! A witch!
Stay with your brother. Hello? Is the pharmacist in here? I'm looking for 10 liters of Legroin.
You won't get those stains out of that dress. Better buy a new one.
It's not for my dress. It's for my carriage.
Are you trying to poison your horses?
Do you have 10 liters or not?
Now, what you saw in that film was the first ever motor car journey. Before 1886, people have only seen carriages driven by horses. So when they saw a vehicle moving without any horses, they assumed it was a witch. That's what happened. On the 29th of January 1886, Carl Benz applied the patent for his vehicle powered by gas engine. the patent number 37435 can be considered as the birth certificate of the automobile or the car. So he got the patent, they manufactured a car, one single car, but although he was an inventor, an engineer, and a scientist, he was not that an outgoing person selling things. In July 1886, the newspaper reported the first public outing of the three-wheeled Benz patented motor car. Now, Bertha Benz, the wife of Carl Benz, she was more outgoing. She had two children. She had two sons. So on the 5th of August, 1888, she decided to take this car out to demonstrate that it's a good product. So on that day, when she was driving, that was the one and the only car that existed in the entire world. That was the first car. She took about 12 hours to travel from 112 kilometers. That's about 70 miles. And because of her action, because of her courage, the Benz car developed and got popular. So Bertha Benz was the business partner and the wife of Carl Benz. She had the courage. She was prepared to take a risk. She was not frightened of failures. She showed to the whole world the possibilities of the motor vehicles. That is why we got now millions and millions of motor cars of different types and shapes. In your work in the future, whether you are working in an industry, in an academic environment, or some other business organization, you may come across opportunities to improve products or processes or services. So keep an eye open for such opportunities. Be conscious of those opportunities. Be conscious of possibilities. When you see an opportunity, think how you can improve them. As I said earlier on, every invention, every product, every service initially appears in somebody's head as an idea, as a thought, and they develop that thought or product later on to a real physical one. So the process of improvement or the invention may not be the same invention, may not be in the same category as the Benz car of Carl Benz, but nevertheless, your thought, your idea, your invention will be a valuable one for a lot of people, for yourself as well as a lot of others, and it will give you a lot of pleasure for you. But the problem is, you may have some difficulties to convince your colleagues, peers, or superiors that it's a good idea. It's the same like Martha Benz had, convincing the pharmacist to give some chemicals she wanted for the car. So there will be barriers, there will be difficulties. But when that happens, the leadership skills you have developed at the university, at school, or in your work, they will come extremely useful. So be conscious of that. Now, that is a very long topic. So let me acknowledge and thank all those people who has put together information to help me. So also is Wikipedia and various other websites, Pinterest, Mercedes-Benz, and TRL Productions. They have all been very helpful to me. So I wish to thank all of them. So thank you again for wishing this video and listening to me. I hope you all will have the opportunity to become outstanding world-class leaders. So good luck to all of you.